Hi everybody, welcome back to Film School. I am Professor Gru, and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different but a little bit similar. We're going to be taking a look at the inspiration for Velma, which I tore into the other day. We're going to be looking at the OG Scooby-Doo. We're going to be looking at episode 1, What a Night for a Night. And we're going to be seeing, well, will this really hold up to scrutiny? Is this as good as I remember it being? So without further ado, let's get going. It's a classic intro there. Words to do now. Be-doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. The song is a bop. I'm just gonna say, it's absolutely a bop. I remember talking to, I was at an animation convention and Dan Provenmeyer was there from Phineas and Ferb, and he was saying, yeah, you know, the thing is, you may not remember a lot about the cartoons from your childhood, but you'll remember the music. I remember finding that was very interesting. It's absolutely true. Think about it. The Transformers theme or the Ninja Turtles theme, Scooby-Doo, you remember it. That was fun animation there. Their heads just snapped into place. Scooby-Doo, where are you? What a night for a night. I love these old title cards and things. What'd that say? 1963? Let's just see that date again. 1969. We haven't had that spirit here since 1969. Bats screeching. I don't hear bats screeching. You know, people criticize the Hanna-Barbera animation, but it's perfectly serviceable. There's stillness where you can get away with stillness, and there's motion where there needs to be. I love Scooby's walk cycle. And look at Shaggy's feet. Look at the way they flop on the floor. I do have an animation background, so sometimes I am just going to talk about the animation. Okay, sorry. Yeah, look at that walk cycle. Look at how their feet are kind of similar. Look at how they're kind of flopping. It's like the heel will go down and there's a bit of drag on the toe. So they'll be flopping.
Nervous night to be walking home from the movies, Scooby-Doo.
Oh, and there's an important thing about Scooby's walk cycle here. So you see here in this pose how the legs on the same side are going in different directions. And the same thing with the legs on these side. So they're doing something, you criticize the animation about it, but this is exactly what you're supposed to do. If you do it the other way, it's called square gating. It doesn't look right. I remember seeing the Jungle Book, and you see the legs, both of the legs on one side of the elephant's side are going like this. They're swinging like this, like a pendulum. Now, you could argue that maybe, hey, maybe that's the way they're doing it because it's... you know, it's supposed to be militaristic and they're marching like that, but it's very obvious when you animate a character like that. So there's a lot of personality in this. Just the fact that they're kind of like slacker character. Shaggy's like a slacker character, and his dog is kind of an image of him, and you basically have that floppy foot going down. It's a really nice. It's also a really smooth walk cycle. Again, this is an example of Velma had some simple brush textures and things like that. This, of course, they wouldn't have brush textures except for actual things that they were painting in. But, you know, simple trees, simple whatever. It's a foggy night in the background. Even then, not so much because you get some lighting effects over here. Objects that are closer to the camera are more detailed. Objects that are farther away are blurry. But with Velma, it was like you would have those objects on the same plane or at the same relative distance. So that effect didn't work. Even here, though, it's still simple. It's not like this is a exquisitely detailed leaf. These leaves are still pretty simple brush strokes and things like that. It's all in keeping with the same style. So let's go on.
From the movies, Scooby-Doo, and all the because you had to stay and see Star, Dog Ranger of the North Woods, twice.
I love that. Star Dog Ranger. That reminds me of the, like, what do you call it? Rin Tin Tin or something like that?
Coming from the bushes.
In Canada, we have Littlest Hobo. That's just fun.
Don't worry, I'm right behind you.
So this is the first time we're seeing these characters. So I did find the laugh track on these things weird. Flintstones does this too, where you get that weird laugh track.
Scooby, come back!
Here we have a run cycle.
Wait!
It's a... Well, first he's gonna Fred Flintstone a little bit, where he's gonna rev up. You gotta hop. He's gonna rev up, and then he's gonna run, and then he's like blah 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 blah. It's almost like he's swimming. But you see, like simple things like that, like in modern. Oh, it's so good. In modern cartoons, again, please don't criticize Hanna-Barbera if you work on an adult, a modern adult animated cartoon, unless it's something really special like Smiling Friends. You don't get the right to criticize Hanna-Barbera. This animation is so fluid and so good. When stuff needs to move, it moves really good. There's fluidity there. The fact that he's paddling when he's running, like he's really trying to chase after this thing. He's not just a cardboard cutout hopping along. Even the floppy feet on the walk cycle. This is all really good animation. Like I'm tired of people. Yeah, they did things to save money. Anime does the same thing. If you have a background character in anime and they don't need to move, they're going to be still. There are a lot of shots in anime where there's no motion except for the camera panning. Because you got to do that because this is expensive and you got to save money. Remember, Hanna-Barbera was the pioneers in bringing animation to television. It was too expensive before. Disney wasn't doing it yet. You know, it was Hanna-Barbera. They led the way. And they led the way because they knew where to cut corners and they knew where. You're showcasing Scooby-Doo. You're showcasing him running. Scooby's the star of the show. So you're going to put some effort into his walk cycles. You could say, okay, maybe like early cartoons and things like that did those kind of walk cycles before and had very fluid animation. They absolutely did. But they're not on the same kind of schedule that television is. Remember, what is there, like 12 episodes in this season? 12 half-hour episodes? That's a lot of animation. So yeah, you're gonna cut corners here. Not even cut corners. You're gonna find cost-saving measures. You're gonna have a lot of Hanna-Barbera characters have a collar with a tie. Even like they won't have a shirt or anything. Like Yogi Bear has a collar, and I think Huckleberry Hound, Fred Flintstone. It's so that you can move the head without moving the body. They were basically doing object animation before Toon Boom Harmony. And Flash and stuff like that. And modern animation is using the same techniques. We'll have an object, all we have to move is the object. Archer uses this to great effect. Archer, I forgive a little bit for cutting some animation corners, because in Archer, you have very, very detailed, very stylized characters. So a lot of effort goes into the drawing and the voice performances, and less into the actual talking. But they still have action sequences and stuff like that. So I forgive a little bit of the jerkiness with Archer, because it's kind of doing a different style. But most modern, if you don't have intricately detailed characters that are pretty representational and pretty realistic, like Archer does, and your characters look like a cutout, there's something wrong with your process. You're being cheap, and it doesn't look good. So let's take a look at more Scooby-Doo. It's very early in. This is like the opposite of Velma. We're 2.5 minutes in, and all I'm doing is praising this thing so far. It looks so good. And then even things like the way he skids to a stop. They both skid to a stop in different ways. Scooby, you see the paws flying all over the place. Shaggy just slides like a surfer dude. There he is again.
Like next time, signal. Hey, what's that?
Yeah, the laugh track is weird. It's a product of the time. Remember, they hit big with the Flintstones, and the Flintstones was basically the Jackie Gleason show. It was the Honeymooners. So they thought, okay, we'll be like the Honeymooners. We'll have a fake laugh track. But it's really fake because obviously there isn't an audience here. I guess it's to make it appeal more to adults, but yeah, I don't know. In this day and age when, you know, The Office doesn't have a laugh track and it's a sitcom, this shouldn't either. Here, we have a group of people who are friends.
Maybe he went out. Well, the name on the crate says Jameson Hyde White, Professor of Archaeology, London, England. What? I've heard of hide and seek before, but I've never heard of Hyde White.
That's bad, Shaggy. No, that's bad. So you just have the eyes and maybe the mouth is moving in that shot, but nothing else is animated. It's fine.
Well, if he was driving this truck, he's disappeared.
Well, gang, it looks like we're up to our armor plates and another mystery.
I love, that's interesting they're doing that episode 1. Maybe I have these episodes titled out of order, though I don't think so. I think this is the first one. But they always have these shots. I remember growing up watching this. They would always have these shots. It was just like a medium close-up of Fred saying, well, gang, I guess we gotta solve this mystery. I'm startled at how much he looks like Hank from the Venture Brothers. Obviously, that's deliberate. Hank even has the same kind of like, I'm the hero kind of talking kind of voice where it's like if you were mocking Fred. But yeah, so far all these characters are nice, and the art style all works together. So I'm digging it. You don't get a lot of personality out of these. You get the fact that Fred is the leader, Shaggy and Scooby are the comic relief.
Oh dear, I suppose I should thank you for finding the Black Knight, but with Professor...
I like how you can tell some voices are just reused. Like certain animation voices come up again and again. I feel like I've heard this Professor guy before. Ooh, the Black Knight.
Like, wow, the moon was full last night.
Then what was the professor doing with tall, tin, dark, and creepy?
Tall, tin, dark, and creepy. I don't know why that's making me laugh. It just is. Oh, you can even see there, like, how Scooby's mouth looked different. Like, watch the painting on Scooby's mouth here. Yeah, you see that line? It's almost like it was a separate object.
Where do you want it, Mr. Wiggles?
Where do you want it, Mr. Wiggles?
Right.
Yeah, I do like this voice acting. It's of its time, but it's still good. Yeah, again, you got that floppy feet walk cycle. I love that. I love Scooby's walk cycle. And even how he's standing with his paws out. See, there's posing.
Come on, Scooby. We're leaving.
Does the character look good in a silhouette? Like, that's the thing. That's one of the key things about animation. You want to make sure the character looks good as just a silhouette.
Mr. Wiggles?
Like here you have all of the characters standing differently. Okay, so we have all of these characters are standing in different poses, and that shows you something about them, right? Shaggy, you got a little bit of a hunch, a little bit of a curve. You can see it here going down the arm. Daphne often stands with her hands on her hips, which is like an attitude thing, but it's also a confidence thing. Fred, little bit more reserved. He's a leader. He's got his arms across his chest, protecting his heart, right? And then you have Velma is a little more kind of demure with her hands behind her back. So just from the postures of these characters, you get who they are. And Scooby is a dog, of course. If you can take your character and just have them in a silhouette, if you can paint all these characters black, and you just have a silhouette of them, like a shadow on the wall, and you can still get personality from the character, it's a good character. So Scooby-Doo is doing that right here. I don't believe Velma ever did anything like that with the posing.
The moon was full.
It's always weird how Shaggy he puts like in at weird places. Like, wow. Like, golly. Like, jeepers, guys. It's a little awkward. It's like they're forcing the archetype a little bit. Wow.
Where do you want it, Mr. Wiggles?
Oh, just put it in
Mr. Wiggles. That's an unfortunate name, Mr. Wiggles. Yeah, I love that floppy walk cycle. Even things like the head bobbing back and forth. See, in these modern adult cartoons, you'll have the character walking around. The head will be parented to the body. It's a separate object that's parented to the body. So when it moves along, you won't have that head bob. Even here, like you get the suspension of the car bobbing up and down. You don't have background, but that little bit adds some motion.
Hey, what's Scooby wearing? They look like some crazy kind of glasses.
See, you notice how the exposition in this is it's a mystery, right? So you need a lot of exposition, and it all drives the story forward.
Well,
That's very different. These characters don't tell you anything about themselves. We know very little about these characters, except from their posing and their voice performances.
They're a special type of magnifying glasses.
Like, all of this is progressing the story. It's not saying, my backstory with my mother is like, wow.
It says here, made only in England.
Hold on to your hula hoops. I love that. It dates it so much. I don't know, I grew up with Archie. I read a lot of those comics going back to the 40s and 50s. So those old kind of teenagerisms are a lot of fun. We're going fishing. Oh, and you have those stings where you cut to commercial? Yeah. I mean, they still kind of do that. You still see fades to commercial, because they do run ads on streaming now. I guess television still exists, right? Not everything's streaming, right?
In a drum. Then, like, how do we get in? Easy.
Like, how do we get in?
That window up there.
See, Fred doesn't have to say, I'm the leader. He comes up with a plan.
Because that's a small window, and you're the thinnest. Oh, boy.
Okay, I want to point out something here. You see, the humor in this situation is Fred says, we're going to have Shaggy go in first, and Shaggy's the scared character. We've seen that from the beginning. He and Scooby were the ones getting frightened by the frog and things like that. So Fred says, you're going to go in first through the window, and Shaggy's like, why me? He's scared, and Fred says, because you're the thinnest one. You can get in through the window. Fred's just being logical. He's smiling that whole time. He's not being a jerk. The humor comes from the fact that Shaggy is put upon, but it's not coming from a malicious place, which makes it funnier. It's funnier if somebody puts you in an uncomfortable situation unknowingly or unwittingly. And we also get personality from both of these characters. Fred is the leader. He comes up with a plan that's sensible, and he's just being logical. Oh, you're the thinnest one. You're easiest to go through the window. And Shaggy's just... He doesn't want to do it. He's scared. He's scared of the ghosts. So, yeah, I mean, that's how you write a joke. You don't have to have characters sniping at each other and being malicious all the time. I'm not going to constantly compare this to Velma, but it is infinitely better than Velma, even just on this rewatch. I came into this with an open mind. I came into this thinking, who knows? Maybe this will be cheesy. Maybe I won't. But I don't know. This is so charming. I can't... And the animation is really good. It's really good. Oh, you can't beat hand-drawn animation. People are all, like, I'm tired of you people who are hating on Hanna-Barbera. I really am. Yeah, they took a few economic measures. If you don't like Hanna-Barbera, then I think you gotta have a problem with anime. Because there's a lot of times in anime where you won't have any motion. Or you'll just have characters, what's going on in my mind? And you'll have flashbacks to different, like, even big properties. Like, My Hero does that all the time. You'll have a battle where characters are just thinking about what their next move is. And that's the whole thing. I didn't watch the show, but Goku at his power levels, just standing there charging up, like no animation, just voiceover dialogue and things like that. So, like, come on, like, if you're gonna call out one, you gotta call out the other. But I mean, for my money, this is all really good animation. I'm just in those walk cycles, You don't even see walk cycles in modern adult cartoons. You just see cardboard cutouts bobbing across the screen. It's so annoying.
Shaggy, you start up, and I'll get the jack out of the mystery machine. Right.
Okay, I get why people make fun of Fred. I do. He's that kind of, wow, gang, why don't you go ahead and... But he's not a bad guy. Yeah, look, you can see that arm there was a separate object. Yeah, and here...
That's it. No more jack.
I actually like looking at seeing where they cut corners. Wow, that's a stretchy arm. Let's look at this arm. See how... Wow, that's a long arm. You see how it, like, stretches to grab it? So little things like that, okay. Okay, so here we have the ladder. That's just an object that's moving up, really. This screw is extending. This lever is extending. And this arm, you can tell this arm is a different color from the rest of the body. And the head, maybe not even the head, maybe just where he's talking. That's why kind of where they cut corners. But it's, again, it's fine. It works. If this was just painted consistently, you wouldn't even really notice.
Don't worry. Shaggy's the swingingest gymnast in school.
See how they're positive? Don't worry, he can do it. Shaggy can do it. I believe in Shaggy. I believe in Harvey Shaggy. I don't know. It's refreshing. I like seeing characters like each other. We have so many frickin' anti-heroes. It's nice to have people just getting along. Okay, I will say that it's not super funny. Even though I'm enjoying it, the jokes are a little bit lame and whatnot. That said, this is 1969. Okay, like great on a curve. I mean, this is just a good setup, haunted museum.
This place sure
Golly.
is creepy at night.
It sure is creepy at night.
During the day. I think we better split up. Daphne and I'll go this way. You two go that way. And Scooby, stand
Don't
guard.
split up. Why are you splitting up, Fred? That's bad. See, I play Dungeons & Dragons, and every time we split up the party to go in different directions, it's like, why are you doing that?
Okay, two it is.
Yeah, so this is a classic running gang. Scooby is a... But it makes sense. Scooby's a dog. He doesn't want to do something. You bribe him with treats, he'll do the thing for you. It's in keeping with the character and the species. Again, it's a really nice walk cycle. That's just repeated animation. They could even have just flipped the cells for all I know. Yeah, it's killing a little bit of time here. It is a nice walk cycle though, so I don't mind. Even that, look at that staging. You got some staging with the shadow on the wall and things like that.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Right, Scooby.
I like the smear lines they painted. They literally just... Wow-wee! I love these colloquialisms. They're so much fun. Let's look at these smear lines again. Yeah. See these smear lines? Yeah, that's all painted in. They're just painting on these smears on the animation cell, and it just gives the illusion of motion. So like all of these little tricks, all of these little details they put in. It's really nice. And that's simple. There's no motion. They just shake the camera.
You can come with us.
That's interesting, because here is an example of where they did more animation than they needed
You
to.
can come with us.
So just Shaggy's head is moving, and you think, there's the collar, there's Scooby's head. All we need to move is Scooby's head. But they don't. They're moving his back, he's shifting around a little bit. It's not a lot of animation, but it's a little bit that they didn't have to animate. Which is nice. These are nice. Look at how these are all in keeping. Okay, this is really nice. So this object in the foreground, which is animated and moving, it's got to be drawn a little bit simpler and everything, right? But it completely matches the statue behind. Even though the statue behind is painted, you can see brush strokes here. It's interesting. We're still talking about brush strokes even when we're talking about actual paintings versus digital, but I mean it is the same concept. But these two look like they belong in the same universe. You got the same style with the crown there and the like obvious simple geometric shapes, you know, based off real coffin designs obviously, but yeah, you can see these two exist in the same world, in the same universe. And even this part with the bricks, you see how you don't need to paint every brick? You just give us the impression of the brick, and that kind of goes along with the whole general art style. Yeah, like so fluid, the way his arms are swinging. You know, he's a goofy character, he's slouched over, he's got these long, lanky arms. And the hand, when he's moving the hand, that'll be the last thing to come to the front. He'll like move his hand, extend it, and then it'll flip up finally at the last moment. It's the principle of drag in animation. It's really nice here. Yeah, again, I love the way the characters walk.
Oh no! We lost Shaggy!
Oh, you're concerned for your friend? That's so weird. I'm not used to seeing that. I've just watched Velma. Everybody hates each other and tries to murder each other. Oh no, we lost Shaggy. It's such a breath of fresh air. Look at that, you get the shadow on the wall. That is... Okay, so this is... You're having to animate the thing twice. I want to talk about this. Okay, first we got a panning. We got perspective. We got 3 different kinds of knights. And then we got the walking across. They're animating both of these characters in walk cycles, which is not easy to do. It's not necessarily easy to do a walk cycle with personality. You got to get the timing right and everything. And it's they're doing it twice because of the shadows on the wall. And you get a little bit of bob up and down. Her neck's not really moving, but they're animating it twice with perspective, with distortion. So you get these lines going up here and then back against the wall, and you have to keep these two shadows in proportion, right? The shadows have to be approximately the same size because Velma and Scooby are just about the same plane. So there's a lot of effort going in here.
I hope we find Shaggy soon.
Yeah. Sometimes there's not much to the background, but you're in a haunted mansion. It can be dark. That's fine. And you put detail in with that establishing with the knights. Very detailed. This simple thing where you're just focused on the character animation and the performance.
I've got it.
Got a black background. You're in an abandoned museum at night.
That's better.
I always love how those, like the stylized, it's tied with a knot. It's got these like rounded shape. Like this is a very typical kind of knot that you see in cartoons. So the knight will be very easy when they just want, say, the arms to move, because it's all segmented into different pieces of armor. Boing. That seems very SpongeBob. Little details like that. You get the knight drawing in the eye.
Not now.
That was a little awkward with Velma just staring off into the distance with her mouth open. But yeah, you're looking more at Scooby at that point anyway. It's kind of funny.
You sound terrible.
This is classic Mr. Magoo stuff.
That cold. Lucky I brought your medicine.
I can't find that Velma nowheres.
Look at how he's running too.
This'll fix you up in a jiffy.
Yeah, he always slides into frame. That's cool. He's.
This'll fix
I want to see this run again. This is me just looking at cool animation cycles, really.
Can't find that Velma nowhere.
Yeah, he's got his arms close together. Pause this. Yeah. So he's got his arms close together. He's leaning forward. His feet are going really fast. So again, a standard run cycle is like this, right? You got your arms kind of up, almost like 90 degrees up, going forward, and your legs are apart and they come together. Your legs are apart and they come together, and that's your typical run cycle. But this one, like, they're putting personality into it. It's like what I call, it's personality animation. You get the character by the way he runs. He's always usually hunched over, so they're like, okay, when he runs, he's gonna lean. He's gonna be like Napoleon Dynamite when he runs or something like that. And having the arms really close together makes it kind of awkward, because he's a big kind of lanky character, right? He's a big kind of goofy lanky character, so you get that in there. So yeah, it's fun to watch these characters move. Get so much out of it.
Find that Velma nowheres.
Zoinks!
you up in a jiffy.
In a jiffy. I love these old expressions. I wonder if anybody ever talked like that, really. Probably not. Admittedly, I'm not laughing a lot at these jokes, but they are jokes. They are set up and punchline. They're not just saying a thing. They're playing with a convention and they're subverting an expectation. Like you had that Mr. Magoo moment where she thinks the knight is Shaggy, and then she gives Shaggy the medicine, and then you have that whole interaction there. I want this dinosaur to come alive. Oh no, he's gonna take the bone and the dinosaur's gonna fall. Yeah, there we go. See, you have a crash, you just shake the camera a little bit. It's not a big thing, but it gives a little bit of motion to an otherwise still scene. Why not? He throws up the whole pile as like one object. You see that? That's kind of funny. Yeah, he's gonna throw this up. It's gonna throw up as one solid object. Okay, that's a little cheap, but then again, animating all those bones, you do see them fall all back together. So I can't call it lazy, right?
I tell you, the black.
I tell ya!
Maybe that's a clue.
This music is fun too. Kind of jaunty,
It's right down.
very of the time. So interesting to see what they thought teenagers were like at different periods of time.
Some clue.
Some clue.
Blood. That's a clue.
Wow, that's a little dark for this show. Oh, it's paint.
A trail that leads down the hallway. Come on, follow that paint.
Yeah, Fred is the leader. He's not a jerk about it. He's just the leader. He's just assertive. He has good ideas.
It ends here at the mummy case.
He's able to corral everybody.
Help me open it.
Don't like surprises, especially spooky ones.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't even help him open it.
Hey, look.
Because it was easier to animate just one. See, look at this.
Sure is a messy.
Is that a nice background? Wow. He's forging a Rembrandt. I think that's a Rembrandt.
Exactly
I don't know.
alike. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I love these.
Just about solves the mystery.
Does it though, Fred?
What?
I guess so. Somebody's forging stuff.
Now, Shaggy. We gotta get the sheriff.
Gotta wait till the end of the episode, then we can explain it.
Leave it to them. The wrong door.
And we go to commercial. And we're back. I will say these like Rembrandt drawings are keeping with the art style. Actually, they are a little bit.
Something.
It's a Rembrandt drawing, but it's also done in this kind of like sloppy painterly style that you see in a lot of the backgrounds. So it does kind of work. And it's supposed to stand out. You're supposed to be like, oh, that's like a Rembrandt painting. I don't know if that is, again, I don't know if it is a Rembrandt. That's just where my brain goes. I wonder if this bear's gonna roar. That's fun. It's slinking across the floor. Easier than a walk cycle, but you're still having to do motions. You get shoulders, the butt going up and down. Yep. Cloth is fun, because it's like goopy. That's interesting. Even the knight slides into frame. That's a little... I think the knight would be like clank, clank, clank. It's a sight gag. It's funny. See, in this one, the bad guy throws them across the room and into the wall. In Velma, Velma hits someone with a crowbar and it throws them across the room and into the wall. This is very clear. This is an antagonist. It's clear who the heroes and the antagonists are. Which is basic writing stuff. But, I mean, even modern cartoons don't get it.
Maybe my ventriloquism bit can get us out of this jam.
You're a ventriloquist? That's impressive.
To make it sound like it's coming from the room, he might leave. Help! Let me out of this pot!
Okay, that's okay, because this is a kid's cartoon, and maybe they don't know what the word ventriloquism is. So I'm okay that he explained. It's just, sometimes exposition just makes things clear for the audience, and sometimes it's overdone. But you notice how Shaggy isn't saying, oh, we're gonna crash into the wall here. Instead they go to a gag. The knight is running very stiff. Its arms are close together, but you're getting really small. Shaggy had really big motions with his arms close together. The knight, he's still very erect, very straight. His legs aren't moving so much when he's running. So everybody's run cycle is different. Sometimes they're running differently or moving differently depending on the situation. I like Scooby.
Just as we thought.
It's the curator, Mr. Wickles.
They gonna say the line? I wonder if they're gonna say the line.
You kids, we never would have suspected Wickles as the art swindler.
Boy, it was a neat set.
I'm on the
He and
case.
his gang were switching their fake pieces of art for the real ones in the museum.
And they made the fakes at night in a secret workshop behind the mummy case. That's why they had to get rid of the professor.
I like how everybody
Only one who could have
gets a little bit to explain to wrap up at the end.
Professor Hyde-White.
Oh my gosh.
Found him.
Again, it's good posing. It's character posing. It's a little awkward when she just stays there, but it's okay.
Professor
Hyde White. Remember that, they were always saying that together.
And all the time, it was Wickles who made that Black Knight come to life.
Oh, Wiggles. I thought it was Wiggles. Like the Wiggles.
Zoinks! He's alive!
No. I like how the knight hands become like paws. They didn't say the line. They didn't say the, you gotta get away from it if not for the meddling kids. Scooby, snapping, the head snapping forward. Yeah. So that was Scooby-Doo, everybody, and yeah, I like it. As you can tell, I'm very impressed with the animation. It really holds up. It's beautiful. It's better than a lot of animation today. The characters are nice and pleasant. It's fun. I love it is dated, but in a good way, in a way that's charming. The zoinks and the golly gee and all that stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's like it's not. It's not what's a great cartoon. It's not Gravity Falls. I'm always going to go back to Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is amazing. It ain't Gravity Falls, people, but this was made in 1969, and it still holds up really well. There are some things it's doing better than modern animation, so, I mean, like, it's Scooby-Doo. It's timeless. It is what it is. It's a little cheesy. The jokes are kind of daddish sometimes, but I don't really mind. I guess that's my only real criticism with this. It's not the funniest, really, but again, I'm not a 10-year-old in 1969, so yeah, is it as good as I remember it? I never loved Scooby-Doo. It was on in the WB programming block kind of thing. There were other cartoons on at the time, and I would watch it after school or whatever it was, you know what I mean? And it's, this wasn't in 1979. I'm not that old. But yeah, it's pleasant. It's pleasant, it's fun. Scooby-Doo, it's the kind of thing where if it's on, like, I won't have any qualms with watching it. If I'm with somebody and we want to just throw on a cartoon and somebody's like, "Hey, Scooby-Doo," I'll be like, "Yeah, sure." It's the animation isn't as beautiful as something like the Bugs Bunny shorts. The Bugs Bunny shorts, of course, different production schedule. They're all in theaters. A lot of time is put into the character animation. But I would argue some of the backgrounds here than in some of those Bugs Bunny shorts look better. So, obviously everything is hand-drawn. It's going to look better. But for what it is, a piece of television animation from 1969, no, it's good. It holds up. It really does hold up overall. So yeah, Scooby-Doo. 2 Scooby snacks out of whatever. Well, I guess I have to give a letter grade here. So you know what? I'm thinking Scooby-Doo. You're gonna get a 75. You're gonna get a B. You're gonna get a B. Yeah, B plus, something like that for this. It's not the best, but I can tell why it has stood the test of time. It really is. It really is good. It really is. This is just an integral piece of pop culture history. It's it's something that's always going to be part of our culture. It just is. It's timeless. It's cemented its reputation. These characters are all clear. It's fun. It's likable. It's pleasant. There's some funniness in the jokes. I like the voice performances, and some of that animation, some of those cycles, really, really nicely done. Again, personality animation. Big fan of personality animation. So if you can give me some personality in a run cycle, in a walk cycle, in somebody's posture, in somebody's reaction, I'm all about that. And again, you're not getting that from modern cartoons. All of the characters just they're cardboard cutouts. They just move all the same a lot of the times, which is really sad. But yeah, no, this is great. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Film School. I'm glad we could do something a little more positive after the Velma. I don't want this to be a celebration of film and storytelling and all of that. I really didn't think Velma was going to be that bad. I want to say those reactions are genuine. I did not think it was going to be that bad, but this is really good. And maybe we'll move on to something else positive in the future. So thank you so much for joining me. If you like what I do, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.